mind, but the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
Today, is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
The WNBA just learned the hard way that life without Caitlin Clark is like Netflix without Wi-Fi, completely unwatchable, and a total disaster. In a bombshell report, it was revealed that WNBA TV ratings have plummeted by more than 50% since Clark's injury, and the Indiana Fever's viewership alone is down over 53%. Playoff ratings dropped faster than a phone battery on 1%. And now the league is scrambling to figure out how to keep anyone at all from switching over to pickleball highlights. Stick around, because this mess is juicier than a reality TV reunion, and it exposes a catastrophic failure that starts at the very top.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
The WNBA wanted this season to be the moment, the big year, the breakthrough where the league finally stepped out of the shadows and proved it could hang with the big boys. Instead, it feels like the entire league took one giant pratfall, face planted into a bucket of nacho cheese, and then tried to pretend it was part of the plan. This season has been a beautiful, catastrophic dumpster fire. If you were watching for the basketball, you got a toxic mix of star injuries, foul calls that look like they were made by referees with legally broken glasses, and a commissioner who seems to think player health is just a friendly suggestion.
Think about Caitlin Clark. The operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever in their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million. On
WNBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars for the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like Caitlin.
Let's be honest, the league had one player, one singular force, driving this unprecedented wave of attention, and they let defenders treat her like a human crash test dummy. Every drive to the basket became a new episode of how hard can we smash Caitlin before the ref notices. The answer apparently was harder than anyone thought possible. The moment she was out, the ratings dropped faster than Angel Reese's interest in finishing a season. It's almost like the WNBA finally discovered what happens when your entire marketing plan is one person, and your on-court protection plan is to let her get punched in the face.
The WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly.
And the numbers are staggering. One of the Fever's last games with a healthy Clark pulled in over 1.2 million viewers. The very next national broadcast without her, it cratered to just 485,000. That's not a dip. That's a free fall off a cliff. Sources are now whispering that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, staring at these disastrous ratings, may have made a desperate call to the Fever, begging them to just tease a Caitlin Clark return. Just dangle it in front of the fans' faces to try and stop the bleeding. When your league is resorting to clickbaiting its own fan base about injuries, you know you're in trouble. If you think the WNBA has completely fumbled the bag this season, hit that like button and tell me in the comments who is most to blame.
That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up. We want to get these numbers back.
But Clark isn't the only casualty of this basketball apocalypse. The WNBA this year looks less like a sports league and more like an orthopedic surgeon's Christmas wish list. Star after star went down, and with each injury, you could practically hear the commissioner's office sigh in relief, as if to say, oh good, one less player we have to market properly. And then as if on cue, Angel Reese quit mid-season. In most sports, that would be a shocking scandal. But in the 2025 WNBA, it feels more like a rational commentary on the state of the league itself.
At Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do things like that.
And let's talk about the officiating, because oh boy, the referees this season looked like they were pulled straight out of a mall food court during the lunch rush. The consistency was somewhere between a magic 8-ball and a fortune cookie. In one game, a hard shove is nothing. In the next, someone sneezes too aggressively and they're ejected. If the referees had their own stat line this year, it would read, turnovers 0. Bad calls, every single possession. It got so bad that players are forced to compete in games that look less like basketball and more like a combination of rugby and professional wrestling. At this point, you expect someone to grab a steel chair.
Caitlin Clark thing, man. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They said ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark did.
And through it all, the commissioner does interviews talking about how the league is growing and building momentum. Sure, and I'm growing taller every time I wear high heels. Calling this season growth is like calling a house fire a new lighting design. It's delusional. The league has been begging people for years to take it seriously, but it refuses to do itself any favors. The commissioner seems allergic to player protection, as if enforcing rules to keep your biggest stars healthy is just too radical of an idea.
Roads. Well, how about this? Pay us what you owe us. That looks like a ham sandwich and some Lay's tater chips right now. It's getting bad. I feel bad for Caitlin Clark. She come out and said on Sue Bird's podcast that she's feeling the pressure of not playing in these games. And that Fever Sky viewership fell off the map.
Now, some fans might argue that this is just a rough patch, that injuries happen, but this isn't just bad luck, it's bad leadership. The commissioner has been sitting back like a substitute teacher who's completely lost control of the class. Instead of fixing problems, the league doubled down on ignoring them. Star players dropping out. Hey, it's fine. Referees making games unwatchable? Don't worry, the fans will stick around. Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Good news and some bad news for those who are fans of pretend basketball. For those who are desperate to see the WNBA succeed, even though this dump of a league can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. Now, the WNBA, they refer to these people as fans, but the rest of us, we prefer to call them the mainstream media.
And that brings us to the ticket sales. The WNBA thought this was going to be the year of sold-out arenas, with fans lining up outside like it was the release of a new iPhone. Instead, the reality has been empty seats that echo louder than the referee whistles. You can almost hear the popcorn vendors sighing into the void. Without Clark on the court, ticket sales for most games collapsed faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. The funniest part? The league tries to spin it. Their social media posts roll out like everything is normal. Another exciting night of WNBA action. They'll tweet. Meanwhile, the comments are filled with fans posting memes of tumbleweeds rolling across empty seats.
You see? You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA.
And let's talk about those fans for a second, because honestly, they deserve medals. Imagine sticking with this league all season, buying tickets, jerseys, and merchandise, only to be rewarded with chaos, injuries, and officiating that makes high school intramurals look professional. The diehard fans must feel like they're trapped in a toxic relationship. They keep hoping things will get better, but instead the league forgets their anniversary, wrecks their car, and then blames them for not being supportive enough.
All of you guys can sit there and say, oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No.
The sad part is, it doesn't have to be this way. Look at any other major sports league. In the NBA, when a superstar goes down, the medical staff rushes in like it's the moon landing. The league bends over backward to protect its moneymakers. In the NFL, you so much as breathe too hard on Patrick Mahomes, and referees will throw a flag faster than you can say roughing the passer. Meanwhile, in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark gets body checked into the scorer's table, and the refs are like, play on, nothing to see here. No wonder people are tuning out. So as this season crawls to its ugly, embarrassing finish, let's call it what it is, a complete and total mess. A spectacular, ridiculous failure driven by incompetent leadership. The commissioner can talk about growth all she wants, but fans see the truth, and unless something drastically changes, unless there's a real overhaul from the top down, this mess isn't going away. If this season proved anything, it's this. No matter how much hype you build, it means nothing if you can't protect your stars. And until that changes, the WNBA will keep stumbling, season after season, while fans keep asking themselves why they should even bother.